The U.S. Postal Service just reported its third consecutive day of fewer on-time ballot deliveries. It reinforces the warning that we've heard for weeks now. Some mail-in ballots may not arrive in time to get counted. And those concerns are intensifying in Florida because of this new report from the Miami Herald. Dozens of undelivered ballots were found at one Miami-Dade post office. Now, the Postal Service plans to sweep other mail facilities in Miami-Dade for ballots. I want to bring in Rick Wilson, Republican strategist, co-founder of the Lincoln Project. He is also, for the purposes of this conversation, a Florida native and a 30-year veteran of politics and campaigns. Cornell Belcher is an MSNBC political analyst, pollster on both of President Obama's campaigns. Rick, let me start with you there. In Florida, how concerned are you about the delays that we're learning about in key battleground states, especially Florida?
Well, obviously, in my home state, we've got a long-running problem that, all elections in Florida, all statewide elections turn out to be very close. This one is going to be very close. And the fact that the thing over the summer that Louis DeJoy and the president and others conspired to do, which was to slow down postal delivery, to slow down mail systems, to break the mail-in ballot system in some way, at least tangentially, seems to be playing out now. We're seeing these ballots pop up in numerous places, not only in Florida, but across the country. And, it is one thing that we really have to, as a country, address and not let Donald Trump come out on election night and say, we're done, I'm done, I won, when the ballots haven't been either counted or found. And so I think it's incumbent upon the Postal Service and the U.S. government to focus on this, and for no one to accept the results of this election until we have the ballots counted and in hand. If they're laying around in boxes in Postal Service centers, that is not something that we should tolerate as a functioning democracy.
Cornell, NBC reports that as Biden sees multiple paths to win, Democrats are facing, quote, crippling fear of a 2016 redo. As a pollster, Cornell, what state are you most worried about? What state are you most confident in?
Well, you're worried about all of them, and you shouldn't take any of them for granted. I mean, on the Obama campaign, I was part of an extraordinary team, but we took nothing for granted. But I do have to put some context in that question you just asked, because we have to also, because the context here is this, Greg. Mitch McConnell had blocking the House bill for $25 billion to go to the United States Post Office for over 170 days. So this isn't by accident, right? This is how we lose democracy. This is how voter suppression works. It's not people necessarily standing at the polls anymore with guns or a poll tax. It is these sort of things is how we lose democracy. So we got to put some context around that. Look, that said, I do understand a lot of hand-wringing by my friends on the left. However, I think to a certain extent we've over-exaggerated the lessons of 2016. 2016 was a phenomenon. Can it happen again? Yes. Lightning can strike twice in one place, but it's really not probable. Look, the fundamentals for Joe Biden are as sound as any challenger you've seen in the last decade or so. I mean, quite frankly, Obama's lead was not structurally as sound as Joe Biden's lead. And look, I was listening to you talk to the reporter talked to that woman in Florida when she was talking about climate change. Even if you look at sort of around the issues from climate change to healthcare to dealing with the pandemic, Joe Biden has a solid lead on all those issues.
Rick, hanging over all of this, of course, is a pandemic. President Trump, in a rally in Florida late Sunday, suggested that he may fire Dr. Anthony Fauci after the election. That, as a closing message, does that appeal to a large swath of the Florida electorate? Am I missing something?
Maybe to like the Florida Association of Funeral Home Directors. But this is a president who has been doing these COVID-palooza rallies, and we've already seen evidence from over the weekend that they're causing a spread of COVID and deaths from COVID. And one of the fundamental underpinnings of Trumpism is a hatred of expertise, a hatred of science, a hatred of the people who tell Trump his impulses aren't right, his madcap conspiracy theories aren't right. And Fauci represents two things that Trump hates the most: expertise and popularity. Dr. Anthony Fauci is much more popular than Donald Trump with the American people because he's credible, because he's smart, because he knows what he's talking about. And so Trump, of course, hates that. And so threatening to fire him in the last weekend appeals to the narrowest slice of his own base, where they believe that Trump is some sort of godlike figure. But for most Americans, for most people seeing that clip, I think it's as it convinces them and confirms to them that this is an unserious man who is taking a very serious pandemic very lightly and treating it in a sort of cavalier manner.
We should note here one of those aforementioned rallies set to get underway. That's the box at the bottom of your screen. In Fayetteville, North Carolina, the president was set to start speaking about 5 minutes ago. He hasn't hit the stage just yet, as you see those hundreds, if not thousands of people waiting for Air Force One to touch down there. Jonathan Allen, my colleague here at NBC News, he had an interesting analysis of Pennsylvania. Small town Trump defectors are rare but could be decisive. He says it wouldn't take many Trump crossover voters to tip the state to Biden. Cornell, I know you've been digging into the numbers there in Pennsylvania. What are you seeing?
Well, we're seeing just that. You're seeing a lot of defectors. Look, it's not only that you're seeing Trump is certainly not doing as well among more downscale blue collar voters as he did in 2016. He's lost some of that, and he's certainly, and Biden is running well ahead of, quite frankly, what even Obama ran among the suburbs in Pennsylvania, particularly with that ring of suburbs around Philadelphia are critical there. So you do see some defection there. But also remember, Craig, it doesn't take a lot, because it's not like Donald Trump won a majority in Pennsylvania. He skirted through Pennsylvania with less than a majority, so there was still a lot of voters out there that didn't coalesce around Hillary Clinton, who I think are coalescing around Joe Biden.
Cornell Belcher,
I think
Rick Wilson will have to leave it there. Oh, go ahead, Rick, really quickly.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think Cornell's analysis is correct. The collar counties around Philadelphia are doing very well for Joe Biden. There is some softening of that former hard Republican Trump vote in the T in the center of the state. That is dropping off. I think that with seniors and some of those working class whites may end up pushing Pennsylvania safely into Joe Biden's hands.
All right, Cornell, Rick, we ran along. I didn't even get to ask Rick Wilson about his pumpkin. It's a delightful pumpkin, Rick.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.